college football all day. It's a Football Friday right here on The Zone. Whether it's the Utes, Cougars, or Aggies, we've got you covered. This is a Football Friday edition of JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Oh, I'd love to say that we finally arrived to a Football Friday, but tomorrow's just going to be another Football Saturday. We're going to have it all dialed up, but we did arrive. It is Football Friday right here on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We are, again, in the shadow of the Delta Center, or Delta Center, however you prefer to do the pronunciation. We are here in front of Delta Center. Don't use articles. We're Eastern European. Come on, man. I'm out here in front of Delta Center with Sly Sylvester. Sly, nice enough to hang out on a Football Friday. He's got not just short sleeves on, he's got no sleeves on today.
He's in game form.
He's got shorts on.
He did not look at the weather forecast, and I love that he didn't.
JJ and I took.
He doesn't care. It's game week.
JJ and I apparently took dressing lessons from our aunts who sent us out the door. Don't forget a couple of different layers, boys.
A lot of people were worried about my well-being today, and so I made sure to bring a jacket.
Jeremiah, do you have your third layer? I just don't want you to get too cold. You can always take things off, but you can't add things if you don't have them.
I packed some chicken soup, too.
Alex, which aunt was that?
Oh, none of my aunts.
That sounded not like somebody's aunt you know.
None of my aunts. No. My mom would definitely – my dad was always funny because he's like, no shoes out here, huh? I'm like, nope. I was a no shoes and shorts guy.
Oh, really?
I didn't care about the weather. And now it's funny because I'm running my kids down and going, put your dadgum shoes on. And then I look in the mirror and go, who have you become?
Right.
We all become our parents at some point.
Who's this guy?
I know.
So those commercials, what? I forgot. What,
becoming a dad,
it's
progressive.
Geico or Progressive,
Yeah.
like one of those.
Yeah, that's me.
Why do I love those commercials?
Because
I need a
don't
coach.
Know how.
I need a coach because I am my dad.
I don't know how, but I have definitely those things hit hard because they are talking to.
They're so true.
They're talking to the 30 to 40 somethings right now, which is where we're at.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And it's making fun of us because we made fun of our parents, and then those commercials are getting back at us going, you thought you knew.
You thought
you knew.
Well,
and now you're going, I think I could actually do something with that chuck roast. Keep it in the freezer. That is.
What, are you born in a barn?
I know.
I catch myself saying that. I was like, dang it.
We become those.
I love the one where it's like that random wood piece that you save from scrap wood.
That's an internet meme with that dad. He's like,
you never know when you're going to need it.
Yeah, and he's digging.
I have
there.
several of those in my garage.
I have one that goes like this and one that goes like this.
I can't throw away lumber.
No way. The celebrating that they do too. The dad and the son. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. I knew I'd need this one day.
And they're putting together some garbage.
Yeah.
Piecemealing together a bed frame of some kind. All right. Welcome to the program. A bunch of dads trying to get their lives together.
Dads, how about
talking
that?
about sports. Yeah.
Plural, guys.
I know. Welcome to the club.
Newly minted.
Sly.
But
now at this
point,
point,
the dad club.
Now at this point, you're probably, I don't know, at least 100 diapers in your life right now, right? I wish I would have kept tabs.
100?
I don't know. No, that you've personally changed. I don't know how many you've changed personally. I wish I would have kept tabs. That's one of those things. When you get to the pearly gates,
you might have approached Guinness Book of World Records.
That's what I'm saying. They go, what do you want to know? What do you want to know? Anything you want to know? I go, tell me the exact number of diapers that it was. I want to know the number.
What's your fastest diaper change?
Man, I was like a pit stop at NASCAR, man. I had a system.
It's not about how fast you do it. It's the weird places I've had to do it.
Yeah, that too.
We did say, what was that, Weber this year? I seen a guy changing a baby in the middle of the yard. He's like, I'm not trying to miss any of the game.
No.
I'm just like, you ain't going to take the kid anywhere? He's like, nope, he's fine.
I've done some. I've wilded out on some places that I've changed these kids, and I'm like, deal with it.
It's fine.
I mean? Pumpkin patch, you're on bare corn.
Oh, stop.
You're on bare corn stalks. We got to do this. We're not walking back out and going back in.
That's why that kid has an allergy now. It's your fault.
Diaper rash for days.
I don't know why we got started off on this mode, but here we are. It's a Football Friday. Stevenson Sylvester, myself, and Jeremiah Jensen, and we are outside Delta Center. Game 2. Home game 2 for the Utah Mammoth, who snuck a 3-1 win over Calgary the other night. That was a nice one. We'll see how they do tonight. As game number 2 approaches, we chatted with Bear, of course, yesterday, and that was a big deal. We're trying to figure out what this team's got to do to score some more goals because, frankly, that's what's lacking, right? But they are one of the best defenses in the league right now. They are one of the best to hold teams to not very many shots during the game. And so I'm interested to see when the goal totals start to – the pucks start to go in, as Bear would say yesterday.
The Sharks are in town. Tonight would be a good night.
Yeah, but I was getting nervous about that team's supposed to be
I don't think
bad.
the Bruins are good either. So
who knows?
Should be a good weekend.
Who knows? All right. We got lots to do, though. It's a football Friday. It's rivalry week. We're going to get you kicked off right here. Starting things off with the cut, top of the program. Let's do it.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is what made the cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Trajan Wealth brings you this portion of the program. TRAJAN Wealth.com. That's Trajan Wealth for all your trusted local needs in retirement. Let's talk a little bit about about this rivalry itself. I want to know about. Well, we've been interviewed, by the way. If you want to go back and listen to any of our interviews during rivalry week.
Yeah, who'd you guys have this week?
Oh, JJ, at this point, it's a blur, right? I mean, it's at least
Hunter Dimmick.
There's at least a Zach Moss.
Zach Moss we had Wednesday.
We had Andy Phillips
yesterday.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of. We usually had we at least had one Utah dude and a BYU dude every day. And
Jaron Hall yesterday.
We've had. I'm trying to think. We're missing some people, but for sure,
David Nixon was on.
Yeah, we've
good old Knicks.
Yeah, we've done a ton of it, and I don't know. I started thinking
with
about
Jordan Gross on Monday.
And yes, Jordan Gross on Monday. Sly, let's talk about your life inside of the rivalry in the context of, because you had a phenomenal career as a Ute, and you had things that were bigger than this game in your career, and yet this one always comes back around to us. We get to address this game every year. There's not a Utah versus Alabama every year. There's not a this is a totally different deal. So your relationship with the rivalry week, with the rivalry game when you were a player versus what it is now, what has it become? What was it like when you were a player?
Man, it really didn't hit me until after my freshman year. I had to play at least one game to truly understand it, right? When you first come in, everybody's talking about it, but, like, it really doesn't mean anything until you've played that game.
We had that discussion this week. People are always like, oh, no, my brother played in this. He told me all about it.
It's Devin Dampier's talking this week. Yeah, Dorian told me about it.
No one doesn't matter until you're actually in it, right?
Until you're in it, right? And, like, people could tell you all of that stuff, and, like, it just doesn't – it just never impacted me. And so I love hearing the stories from guys that grew up around it. I went to this game. I went to this particular game. I saw this. And you can see their eyes light up as they're telling the stories, and you can see how passionate about it is. And that's really understand how important it is, not just for you and you being a part of it, but you're a part of somebody's story, right? And you want them to be able to – I remember when Sly did X, Y, Z in his game. So that's why, as a player, it hits home for that. But it really doesn't hit you until you've actually been in it. You feel the energy. You feel that crowd, whether it's home or away. And, man, it's special, man. I can't even tell you. Like, my blood's been boiling all week. Honestly, probably since last November when we played them. Because that game last year, anybody that's on the team that was in that game last year, you feel that, right? You'll be like, we got to get some get back, right? We had 9 straight. We're going for 10 straight. That's when they won in 21.
Yep. It's been 2 in a row for BYU, but last year was, painful because of the way it ended.
Right.
The controversy in the final minute, being so close.
A
game that might have shifted Utah's season last year if they would have pulled that off.
Exactly. And all the BYU fans that came at me for my remarks on Sunday night. And I'm just like, it's so stupid because, like, literally, I can pull up any BYU film and say that, right? But, it's just the heat of the moment, and it's crazy, and you love your team, and I think that's what it's all about. You love your team, right? Like, we talk about it all the time. Like, I love good football. I love good matchups. I just don't want a tight game with my team.
Right.
Right? And that's what happens in these rivalry games. It's always tight. I remember every single year it was within 3 points was the determination of that score, man. So I absolutely love this game, what it does for the city, what it does for the people who play. It is the definition of why you love football.
What I love about the game this year, Sly, and you know it, you were in it, you played in several of them, and you continue to live in this community, and so you've been a part of it ever since. But the nation doesn't know, honestly. We've witnessed some of these incredible moments over the years, and these great games, great players, great tradition, great coaches. There's so much greatness in this rivalry. but it's been very – I almost want to call it a bubble. Like, not everybody in the country has been able to appreciate the greatness of it, the history of it, everything.
Right.
That's going to change tonight. That's going to change on Saturday night because both of these teams are ranked. Mm-hmm. Both of these teams are in a power conference now. And the winner of this game is going to be on track to go to the Big 12 championship game. That's the way it's shaping up right now. This is going to be a springboard one way or the other for one of these teams to get there. This rivalry is going to be exposed this weekend to a lot of people around the country who have never seen it. And that's exciting to me because I would love to see the nation appreciate what this is and what it's about.
Yeah, I think that's the difference too, right? I like, when's the last time this rivalry game had so much on the line?
2009?
But even then, did it have this much?
No.
Right.
Because that was back in the days. It was, Mountain West.
Right.
And,
there was
the
no
winner was
CFP
going to the
at
Las
that point.
Vegas Bowl, right?
Right. And so, like,
they were ranked in 2009, but
2008 we were ranked, same thing, but it's never been like this.
Yeah,
we're ranked 21 or 23, whatever we are. And BYU's ranked 15, but there's so much else. As the stuff all you alluded to, right?
Yeah.
The history, the nation notoriety, the conference championship position, the CFP position, springboarding yourself within the conference of knowing who is the person to look out for. This is potentially a game that you look for the future, right? The future of this conference, the future of what it is.
Big 12 needs this rivalry.
The Big 12 needs this, and I think they were looking forward to this, and this is actually happening probably a lot sooner than Big 12 was anticipating. They knew that it had this type of fervor, but, like, it's like this, right? The juice of the game last year, that's what everybody's talking about is what type of game it was last year, right? You got big noon kickoff coming to cover another Utah game in the first 6 weeks of the season. Like that's huge. So both of these teams bring a lot. I remember what you said early in the season before the season started. There's potential where both of these teams could be undefeated going into playing each other.
It was as close as you can come without.
It's as close as you can
It's
come.
that one loss for Utah.
That
that's
fourth
it.
quarter in Texas Tech was just awful. But, like, there's just so much behind this game that's providing the excitement that everybody should get behind, man. So I'm absolutely loving it. So much so that you guys want to shotgun a bull with me?
Are we going to ride the bull?
We're going to shotgun a bull.
We're going to ride the bull.
Okay,
right here, baby.
Here's Steven Sissel.
Sly's riding the bull.
He hit the hey.
He has wings.
I was going to say.
Yes, folks.
A little early, Sly. It's only 3:20 in the afternoon.
Again, our
What did Adam Sandler say on Happy Gilmore? Only 365 days to try out again. Got to pump it up. It's never too early.
Are you going to the batting cage right now?
Let's go, baby.
I wondered what was going on over here. I go. Last week he's taking chocolate milk shots.
Hey, man, if you're going to tailgate, you got to tailgate.
Now we're shotgunning.
Hey, I felt great all weekend. I got my protein last weekend. And none of the lactose. It was great.
I felt terrible.
Oh, come on.
They were like, "What's going on?" I go, "I don't know what's going on in my gut right now."
What'd
you have to eat? Nothing.
I got to experience the fair life.
Yes. Dude, oh no, it had nothing to do with it. It was just an amount of sugar I was not used to. Because like you could say Fairlife, it doesn't, but it's lactose free, it's high in protein. I was like, yeah, but I'm dunking Nutty Buddies into this thing, okay?
Well, you didn't have to add that part.
Nobody said do your Lunchable and do that.
Oh my gosh.
There.
Yeah, we graduated from Lunchables to Red Bull this week. We're making progress.
Very wild. Well, let's talk a little bit about what some of the things have been in this game, in this rivalry game. At KSLSports.com, there is a listing of the 5 biggest wins in BYU's history and 5 biggest wins in Utah's history in the rivalry. Tell me if you agree or disagree with any of these. Or the thing about this is, for me, it's not even about the games having that legendary moment. Like everybody remembers those moments, and last year became one of them, right? Because of the post game and what happened with that, and Mark Harlan and all that involvement. And it was 21-22, right? That's how the thing ended. But there are things that you say. The Brandon Burton block, people know what you're talking about. You talk about in the case of, and again, like I said, go to KSLSports.com and you can read up. I'll look at the BYU ones real quick and tell me if we're missing any of these. 2006, Beck to Harleen.
That's probably the most memorable BYU win that fans will. If fans, you ask diehard BYU fans, especially of our generation, Beck to Harleen's number one on the list.
What's crazy about the Beck to Harleen one was BYU was favored in that game.
Oh yeah,
at Rice Eccles, they were a team that had a lot more like notable names on that list that were impactful, and yet it came down to the last play of the game and an insane last wild play of the game. Now, Brian Priest, who put this together for us at KSL Sports, he put in the 2021 26-17 win. We talked to Jaron Hall about that yesterday. He was the quarterback in that game, and it was wild to talk about the names that were involved in that game. His running back was Tyler Algier. His wide receiver was Puka Nacua.
The talent in that game was off the charts.
Dalton Kincaid,
both sides.
Yes, Dalton Kincaid's there. Makai Bernard runs for
Brant
150. Brant Keithy's on the team. And who did they have to throw to him? Charlie Brewer. Which I know Utah fans are looking back now.
While Cam Rising standing on the sideline.
It wasn't until the next week that everyone goes, maybe we give that number 7 guy a shot. Right?
One of the most bizarre things Utah's
listen,
done to the quarterback position in the time I've covered them was that whole situation in 2021.
Think about how wild that year.
I know he was coming off shoulder surgery, but still.
Right. Think about how wild that year ended up being, because at the end of all of it, we were all sitting at the Rose Bowl watching Utah with his Pac-12 champs.
What the heck were we doing at the beginning of the season?
Right.
I know Utah fans are just like.
But
the reason that was a big one for BYU, I'm assuming you put it on there because they were going in.
It ended the streak.
Yeah, it ended.
And I don't think
yes.
if you're a BYU fan and you lived through the 2010s, through the independence era, and you had to go through, what was it, how many, 9 in a row?
9 in a row.
9 in a row? That was pain. That was pain. And in 2021, to win a game like that and to win it convincingly was something that BYU fans had been praying for a decade.
Right.
So was it the most memorable game in the series? No. Was it the most meaningful to BYU fans in the last 10, 15 years? Absolutely, because it ended that streak. And that streak was so painful for so many BYU fans. There was a website that had a counter on it.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And it continued for a decade.
Yeah.
To put all that to bed was such a relief for BYU fans, and look what's happened since. The program has they got the Big 12 invite. It was just right around that time.
It was that exact. I think it was
everything
the week before.
turned.
Yeah.
Everything turned in that moment. It was more than just the win. It was everything else that came with it.
Lots of babies named Jaron.
Yes.
After that night.
That were made right before
Utah,
Utah
Sunday service.
Oh yeah.
In 1989, 70-31, that was coming off of getting beat the year before.
That was a big game.
Badly up at Rice Eccles by Scott Mitchell and company up there.
Ty Detmer dropping 70 on the Utes.
Now, he put 1977's 38-8 win. You don't think of that one as being like one of the biggest wins because it was a 30-point win for BYU. But Mark Wilson, obviously a guy who is one of the greats and was one of the early additions of QBU, right? He puts up 571 yards and 5 touchdowns through the air. Still remains as a record in the rivalry for itself. Are they missing any, JJ? Because I was thinking about it. And I was like, 17-10 in 2007 when Max Hall was it quarterback there.
I think historically, I mean, if you're going to look at it from a historical perspective, I can't remember. I should have wrote this down. I can't remember what year it was, but back in the 50s, there was a long Utah winning streak, and BYU beat them. And I think they carried – there's old footage of somebody being carried off a field. It was a big deal for BYU because, BYU for a long time.
Eldon Forte coming off the field.
Well, yeah, it was even right before that era. So I'd have to go way back then. But you got them right. I mean, there's as far as BYU goes, I think 2017 was on there too. 2007. Magic happens.
The 17-10 one, yeah.
Yeah, that was a crazy,
That was
Sly,
4th and 18. We talked about that before.
We're opening wounds for Sly here.
Yeah, but look, Utah's
that era of BYU Utah was intense because both programs were so good and so competitive and
you
so
had no
evenly
idea
matched.
who was going to win those games.
No, and those were, you'll look back, those are great BYU and Utah teams with a lot of talent that ended up in the NFL. That was a golden age of the rivalry because the games were so good and so much was on the line then. I feel like we're entering another stage of that in the Big 12 era.
I've been in both of these stadiums multiple times during this rivalry, and number 5 on the list for the Utah list of top 5 wins, I can't disagree with it being on the list because I've never been at Rice Eccles Stadium when it melted down more than the comeback in 2018 when BYU was up 20-0 at the half. Mm-hmm. And
I believe it's the greatest comeback in the rivalry history.
The pick six in the second half. Jason Shelley leading Utah, of course. And they end up getting that win 35-27 there at Rice Eccles Stadium. I've never been in a louder environment. In fact, I did the first half where I was sitting over on the BYU sideline. I did the second half standing next to actually Andy Phillips and Tom Hackett during the second half. And I just remember watching how this thing was going down and the intensity on Coach Witt's face. By the way, it never changed. Like, crazy stuff's happening throughout the game, and his face is not changing. He's this, steeled, crazy field general, right, out there. Like, you can just picture him.
I know that well.
Nothing shook him. It seemed like nothing shook him. And so that whole place melting down, that was number 5. Number 4 was in 1988. Like I said, I mentioned the Scott Mitchell, 384 yards. They won 57-28 in that game. It was a blowout.
Ended a 10-year drought for Utah in the series.
54-10. I remember being up in the booth for that one.
John White.
It was a crazy. I think in 2011. Oh boy, I'm trying to think in 2011 because it wasn't Harvey Longy.
Harvey Longy was on the Utes.
Harvey played in the Utah.
He played in that game for Utah.
So Harvey was on that 2011 Utah team, and then and they went. I just remember it being, I don't know what it was at the half. Maybe it wasn't super bad, but it ended up being just an absolute train wreck. I'd never seen people file
Jake
out of.
Heaps getting thrown around like a rag doll by Derek Shelby.
I've never seen a group of fans walk out of Rice-Eccles Stadium in the rivalry at LaVell Edwards Stadium that quickly.
That was. I just remember Trevor Riley's play.
Yes, Trevor had a game that night.
Did Julian Blackman?
That was his breakout.
Yeah.
No, that was in the 2018 game. The Julian Blackman.
18 and 19, Julian had big games.
Week 11.
Blowouts are so rare in the series that's why that game really stood out for Utah.
Speaking of blowouts, yes, 54-10, but then 52-21 in 2004. And then in 2008, I'll add that one on there because I know that was one you were a part of. But that 48-24 game, that was like not even close.
So much was at stake.
It was close.
And that BYU team was really good.
They were a good. It was a good BYU team, and it just ended up like you just couldn't stop that Utah team.
Our defense just put it on them, and Max Hall really felt it that night.
Yep, the turnovers were the difference.
The turnovers
in that game.
they just couldn't overcome them, and our offense just started to turn it on. And that second half, we just turned it up, so it was good.
Take your pick of 34 to 31s in the series.
Well, let me say, 93 was important.
Yes,
93 was the turning point in the rivalry because from that point on, that was a signal to kick a 56-yard field goal to win it in LaVell Edwards Stadium was a signal to BYU that everything has changed. Ron McBride has changed his program, and from then on, it was back and forth. I think the Utes won 3 in a row, 93, 94, 95, and then they won again in 97.
Can we get an explanation of why there's a discrepancy between the two programs on the record?
Of course, why wouldn't there be?
What?
They're not going to agree on anything.
Well, here's the thing: is Utah's still in the front, but
technically weren't a university until they started doing. Yeah, there was a lot of
Let's just say BYU didn't win a lot of those games that aren't counted before
between
1922.
Between 1897 and in 2000 or in 1922. BYU pretends like that era didn't happen because there was a lot of 12-0. The Utah Utes took it from the BYU Cougars. I don't even know if they were Cougars back then. Or if it was just
it wasn't even radio back then, was there?
In 22 there was. KSL Radio.
That's right.
1922.
All right. Year one?
I don't know if they have the broadcast rights back then, but was I'm trying to think if Paul James was making those.
Probably bought them for a shilling.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We've got more to go on our Football Friday, getting things started off right, reminiscing about some of these games. Let's get to the here and now with the games that happened last week. That Arizona State thumping by the Utes up there at Rice-Eccles Stadium. Boy, they needed that. And BYU escaping the desert with a double overtime win for the freshman quarterback Bear Bachmeier to get to 6-0 on the season and to stay perfect and to move up in those rankings. We'll come back. We'll break it all down next. 97.5 KSL Sports Zone.
The Holy War is here. The Holy War. And the Zone is getting you ready for a historic battle between the Utes and the Cougars.
I do enjoy, I think that's within my zone, is talking a little bit. And so within these guys, I'm sure I'll hear a bunch of it, considering they know a lot about me and I know a lot about them. But it wouldn't be competition if it wasn't that way.
I mean, they got a great offense, right? They got a lot of moving parts, and they got a great team in general. And so I'm just fired up to go into this game, go into LaVell Edwards Stadium, and go play some Utah football.
Holy War coverage on the Zone is presented by UCCU. Love where you bank. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
You want me to snort them?
I just thought you were getting weird because you got
Sly's riding the bull. I got a little jealous.
Sly shotgun the Red Bull, and so I look over at you, and I thought
that's a Football Friday and Rivalry Week. Let's get crazy.
Let's get crazy.
Let's snort some nerds.
I thought you snorted some nerds. I'm like,
bad timing on the chew. Sorry, I didn't think that was going to go over there.
Nothing has been more rivalry. They're like, did you bring the nerds? Set them up on my phone, dude.
It's an underrated sugar candy. It really is.
All right, welcome to the program. Thanks,
especially
for
the gummy nerds. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. See, it started with just the Nerds rope.
Yeah.
And then, and you know what's funny is it got a big following because people who run like marathons and stuff, they found out that like whatever the combo of that type of sugar
Gives you a quick boost.
yeah, versus Anyway, listen. We can do this hot candy talk another time.
Look at you guys. I'm sitting over here.
Sly, don't act like you don't know. Don't act like you don't judge people.
The
for
guy
their
that
candy.
brought a box of Nutty Buddies to our
Hey,
last
man.
football Friday is like, oh, come on, guys, eat healthier.
So
Yeah.
you're saying you didn't have a good time?
You know what's funny is you guys remember the movie Alive? You know where it's like, the
rugby movie?
the rugby team.
Yeah. It's dark. They did a remake, too.
Yeah, it wasn't a cannibalism thing, but I did at one point accidentally stumble upon, like I was kind of rifling through my car this week, and because I was like, man, I am so hungry right now, and I found a box of Nutty Buddies, and I was like,
What?
but they were crushed. They had been like stepped on, like not a box. It was from last week. I had like my bag had smushed 2 of them, and
And
that
your
was one of
heart
the
was
things-
just devastated.
I had just no because I did because that was one of the things is before they resorted to eating one another on this airplane crash up in the mountains in the Andes. They had like all these chocolates that they were fighting over and just like smushed like chopped up chips and stuff. And I felt like that. I was in the back of the car. I was like, trying to get it. I was like, that's how desperate I was for treats this week. So
That's sad.
Yeah.
What's the Pilgrim story when they were traveling out west? In the
Donner
80s?
Party?
The Donner Party. That sounds like a Donner Party.
Over the Sierras.
Yeah. It's definitely a Donner Party story.
There's one thing about eating your buddy, but just eating Nutty
Eating
Buddies
your
is funny.
buddy.
Eating your buddy versus eating a Nutty Buddy. I choose the latter.
Yeah, definitely Nutty Buddy in that context.
Oh, boy, the show just got weird, and I apologize. It's all my fault.
I don't know. Maybe Doug is underrated. I don't know.
Let me see here. So first one up here on this conversation. Let's chat a little bit about, from this week, the 42-10 whooping that Utah put on Arizona State. From a moment of like a big sigh of relief standpoint, Sly, was
So
that
what
the
do we
feeling?
get when we get close to the wins? I know, JJ, you've gotten one. I think my score, Alex didn't write mine down.
You were
but
close.
I was
Last week?
38-13, I believe. I
in
said
that
my
game?
score.
In the yeah, and I had done one. I
You
think
almost nailed perfectly the BYU Arizona score. I
the
think you were
West
2 points
the
off.
West Virginia game, I was like maybe 2 or 3 points off also
Yeah,
on
yeah.
one of them. But I don't think we've had anybody hit totally on that yet. But the 42-10 though, I was, people were talking a lot about how when they revealed that definitely Sam Levitt was going to be out, and I think we all kind of adjusted our scores accordingly with that. But I didn't know it was going to be that lopsided. And I will say, too, Sam Levitt wasn't in the game. You're right. But Sam Levitt doesn't play defense. And that Arizona State defense, it was like the whole team took a massive, we don't have our guy. It helps. It helps to have your leaders. How big of a difference was that to be able to get that win at home? All people talked about all week long, Sly, was that 5 or 6 game losing streak at home in conference play for the Utes, which is so uncharacteristic. To be able to get that win, what was the vibe with the team after that?
Oh, it was spectacular, which is funny because after that meeting, was it Monday press conference where whoever asked the question actually educated Coach Whittingham that he doesn't have a conference win. He didn't even know at that time. But talking to all the players, Coach Whitt talked about it all week.
Really?
Yes. And so he's like, the players definitely, because nobody knew it until that moment, and Coach Whitt made sure that it was a thing. So the youth came out with some energy, right? The whole start of the game was just where I was so, I don't know what the word is, but I was discombobulated. I had no idea what was going on from the rain, the weather.
It was a weird day.
It was like 8 minutes
across the
before
state,
kickoff,
yeah.
and I was still in the booth.
Yeah, because they were.
I thought we were going to go back on the pregame show to end
Yeah.
it. And they're like, no, the game starts in like 5 minutes. I'm like, oh, I got to pack my stuff and get my butt downstairs.
I got work to do.
Yeah, and so I didn't even know because they were still warming up because they went straight from warm-ups to staying on the football field to kickoff.
Yeah.
And I'm expecting them to go back into the locker room, yada, yada, yada. So it was just a very different vibe, but the team was just so locked in that it didn't matter if Sam Levitt was in the game. Those guys wanted that whole bye week, whatever they did the bye week, we talked about tackling, we talked about QB run game, what was important, how do you get better, how do you actually fix those things. And tackling is a mindset, right? And there was just a lot going on at the beginning of the season, in the first 5-6 weeks of the season, that if you got some rest, you're able to recalibrate and those things. I don't think we had tackling issues in that game. Even with Jeff Sims,
Nothing stood
you know,
out,
being
no.
able to run around a little bit. The tackling issues wasn't anything. Defense was sound, right? And when we were able to play complementary football, that's when you see the points on the scoreboard, right? And that's what we were able to see in that game was complementary football. Devin Dampier healthy, which we haven't seen in the last few weeks. But it's just primed, and we're getting ready for this huge rivalry game tomorrow night.
Yeah, their ability to run the football the way they did with Dampier was that really popped to me.
200 yards in like the first half.
Insane.
Yeah.
And that's what we all envisioned Devin being. Right. We saw the clips from New Mexico. It was like, if Utah has a quarterback that could do this with that defense, then Utah's going to be really good. And the Texas Tech game was kind of a letdown because he wasn't able to do those things. And, and you're thinking to yourself, wait a minute, we were sold that it was going to be this, and this. Right. We didn't know about the injury during the game. We knew about it after.
Because you don't make excuses. If you're out there on the football field, you're out there on the football field. That's
that's true, and I get that. And so you were wondering ever since then, what's going on with Utah? And I felt like in that game against Arizona State, we needed to see them just absolutely blow the doors off of them.
And that's what happened.
I talked about it going into the game. It's like, there's no excuse here. The weather's going to be bad.
No excuse.
It's nighttime at Rice-Eccles Stadium. There's no Sam Levitt.
Yeah.
Utah needs to go out there and make a statement. And I felt like they did. It was complete dominance from start to finish. They could have had Tom Brady. They could have had, I don't know, pick your Josh Allen out there on Saturday.
Right.
It wasn't going to matter. They dominated that game on both in every phase. Every phase of the game.
Yeah, and Alex, to answer your question with the Sam Levitt stuff, sorry, I kind of squirreled it.
No.
But Sam Levitt was their emotional leader, right? Just like if you envision that team last year, Cam Scatterboot was that guy.
Yeah.
Right? He brought the juice, right?
Yep.
His blocking, his vocal leadership. When he made plays, the team felt that. That's the same thing that if you watch that Baylor game, you watch that TCU Arizona State game, even in the Mississippi State game, Sam Levitt was that guy, and now he's not on that field at all. Then you had all the adversity at the start of the game with the weather and all of that, because they were out on the football field with all of their pads on while it was coming down raining. And I don't know if you guys know, but that is the crappiest feeling is to be rained on and then go back and sit in a dry area in your wet clothes. That's the worst stuff ever. If I'm raining and wet, let me just stay out there. But it was just so much adversity going on in that game, and they didn't have their emotional leader. Sam Levitt is their offense, defense, and special team guy, and they just didn't have that guy in that game.
Real quickly before we get out to the break, BYU gets the double overtime win against Arizona down there. They had a 14-0 lead early, and then they gave that up. I mean, look, as soon as they came back from the hour and 40-minute delay, there was
new game.
It was, and that's killer for momentum, man. I mean, like, you're doing well, and then suddenly you get.
It was a complete opposite of the Colorado game, right?
Well,
complete opposite.
They asked Kalani after, too. They go, what did you guys do in the locker room? What did you do to keep your guys sharp? And blah, blah.
He just grabbed hands and sung hymns.
No, he goes,
right.
He goes, we chilled out. We, we ate a little bit. We, hung out. We
didn't talk about football.
Ate some Uncrustables.
And in my mind, I'm like, I kind of hate that. I'm not saying you need to be like, but, I envision the guy from the program and those guys spitting into each other's mouths.
Great movie that's not on the top 10.
I don't need that.
No doubt.
I don't need that. But what I do need is, he's like, oh, we just hung out, chilled out. And then, you get out to the field, and it seemed like Arizona, I don't know, they were changed X, Y, and Z. Let's do this. Let's go this way. And so that is a hard thing to do.
It's so hard to coach.
Yeah, it is.
What do you learn in a moment where you go into double overtime and you hadn't led since the first quarter, and now suddenly you're down the whole rest of the second half? In fact, you're down double digits going into the fourth quarter. They pull it back. What did Bear learn in that moment, do you think, as a guy who's leading a team coming back from what they did in the second half, and then also winning in double overtime on the road?
The biggest thing for me is experience, right? There's no situation that you're going to go to that you won't feel comfortable in, right? And so for a true freshman to be a starting quarterback, have a big lead, have a delay, and have a comeback victory, to double over. There's so many different layers in situational football experience that he got in that one game. That one game, situational football, there were so many different things that happened, from his turnovers to bad passes to Arizona bringing pressure to not being able to get the ball to his receivers to late in the football game to fumbling. So praise the Lord. I keep forgetting the guard's name that recovered that fumble, but that was the game right there.
Everybody did.
If they didn't recover that
good
fumble.
luck pronouncing that name.
It's not, but what's funny is it's actually easier.
I know.
I was telling our producer, Alex Napolis, I go, oh, yeah, I've heard it all week, but the spelling throws you off.
It does.
It's like Krzyzewski. You're
Yeah.
like, oh, you got
Anyways,
Krzyzewski out
that
of
guy,
Yeah.
that guy, if he doesn't recover that football, you get another chance. But what I absolutely loved about watching that is watching Bear's face in the huddle on the very next play call his own number.
Yeah.
What?
And they told him
As a true freshman?
And they
Yeah.
told him that he could. They told him it was either A-Rod said it. He goes, it was either a pass play or it was him keeping that
And
thing.
he called his own number. He's stone-faced. That is so different.
Yeah.
Imagine, you guys just mentioned it, Charlie Brewer. Did you see that kind of stone face when he was here and he was a veteran? He ran the Big 12 at Baylor, and he did not have that at all. He was shook
Yep.
from one play. But Bear Bachmeier, man, there's so much situational football, and I know you hear from Kalani, NFL coaches, Coach Witt, about how important situational football is. There's just experience with that BYU fans and coaches can love, that it's going to go for the rest of this season and his potential BYU career.
Let's take a break. We'll come back. When we do, we've got a Would You Rather, a rivalry edition on a Football Friday. Before we get you out there, I want to remind you, tomorrow we're going to be down there at the UCCU location on Freedom Boulevard. That's where our big pregame rivalry bash is going to be going on. Live from the UCCU in Provo. Enjoy food, games, prizes, cash, and tickets to the rivalry game also being handed out. Yes, you can win tickets to that. We're going to have Beehive Meals there. It's going to be awesome. Don't miss it. This Saturday, that's tomorrow, 4 to 6, UCCU's Freedom Boulevard branch in Provo. And, of course, this portion of the show brought to you by the good folks at Enbridge Gas. Prep for winter. Get that furnace inspection from a certified heating contractor. Make sure you're operating your furnace safely and efficiently this season. A reminder from Enbridge Gas. We'll take the break. We'll come back. 97.5 KSL Sports Zone.
The Holy War is here. The Holy War. And the Zone is getting you ready for a historic battle between the Utes and the Cougars.
Snap to John. John backpedals, plenty of time. He's moving to his left, shuffling. All kinds of time. Now the heat comes. He's got to run to the right. John Beck is on the run. He throws behind him. It is caught for the touchdown! Caught for the touchdown! Johnny Harleen got it for the score! Harleen by himself in the end zone! The Cougars win it on the final play of the game!
Holy War coverage on the Zone is presented by UCCU. Love where you bank. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
By the way, this was
recall.
This was unplanned. This was just hearing the Beck to Harleen. Sly just got all these nightmare moments of where his brain was.
Every single time I hear
going.
that.
Keep turning into a therapy session.
Oh, man, it's so bad, man. I'm just envisioning. I'm just like, okay, like somebody's got to come up. Giannone just breaks down from coverage. Like, I'm tired of this guy just sitting back here. Gets him, and he just chucks the ball. And I'm like, oh, he chucked it to nobody. And this guy comes out. No, I swear he stepped out of bounds somewhere. He had to. Does anybody got footage of that? Nobody knows where Harleen came from.
It's like the Zapruder film.
It was weird because nobody saw him on TV either. Like the camera is on.
Yeah.
The camera is kind of a little too tight on.
On the broadcast, you don't see him until it pans out. Suddenly when the ball goes up, and all of a sudden,
this guy just slides into the screen
end zone.
like a Dirty Dancing freaking film.
I was in the back. I was in the end zone.
I was opposite end zone.
You didn't even see him.
No, because John's over here, and all of a sudden the ball goes that way.
Everybody's looking left.
And he wasn't. And he was down because he was sliding.
He slides, yeah.
Man.
And you're like, what's going on? What's happening? What happened? And then you see he's caught the ball. And he's raising his hands, and you're like, "Oh my gosh! I can't believe I just saw that."
So
just straight dismay, right? And for some reason, there was some debris in the air. It was just this nasty, cool air. The air just went right out of the stadium. All Utah fans were just shell-shocked. BYU corner, the visiting corner in Bicycle Stadium. They're just cheering like crazy. And I'm like, there's got to be a penalty. There's got to be something.
I'm going to give you a quick would you rather, Sly, and it's just for you.
Anything but that.
So, but that's what I was going to ask you. Which soundbite do you hate hearing the most? Max Hall's breaking down of, I hate him. They pour beer on my family, all that stuff.
I love that.
Okay, so the Beck to Harleen one it rips your heart out.
Yeah, it's
the other one just feels more like a
one-liner
raw
of the
after the game.
That Annapolis recorded of me talking about BYU basketball. That's what I hate.
Hold on a minute. I don't know why we haven't been playing this all.
You guys.
I actually love the promise of BYU basketball.
Nobody listen.
Man. I love the promise of BYU basketball.
You knew they were going to get AJ. You knew it.
But here was the funny part about it was it made it sound like you were reading a bedtime story to a kid. I want to hear it again. I pretend like Sly was reading this to his daughter. It's the very last.
Either that or he was laying in bed
on.
and he put lipstick on after he said it.
Sunday night slow jams.
Okay, this is Sly reading a book about BYU basketball, and then this was him ending it on the very last page when he's reading a bedtime story to his daughter. Here's what it sounds like.
I actually love the promise of BYU basketball.
And to all, a good night.
And she had nightmares after that, folks. She had nightmares. She hates that story. I'll never tell it again.
Oh, my goodness. All right. We're going to get out to a break.
Slide
here.
knew they'd be a top 10 team this year.
Sure. I will say we still have lots to get to. We have tons to do on a week. This show's already fun to do during the year. It makes it even more fun for us to be able to do it right now as well. Every Wednesday, by the way, is a Win Ticket Wednesday right here on the KSL Sports Zone. So you win tickets to different events this week. Are you ready for this one? I've seen this one blasted across the the digital board right out here outside Delta Center for the last 20 minutes. And now I get to tell you next Wednesday we're giving out tickets to Adam Sandler's You're My Best Friend tour coming right here to Delta Center October 26th. That's going to be next week. Yeah, so Adam Sandler coming to town. You can win those next week. And his concert, Sandman, You're My Best Friend, Adam Sandler coming to Delta Center. You can win this week or you can buy them on SeatGeek right now. We'll take a break. We'll come back. Mitch Harper, our BYU insider for KSLSports.com, going to dip in with us a little bit, give us some ideas on the early looks at the injury reports, etc., from this week. But we'll get Mitch's breakdown of what BYU's doing and what they're planning on with this Utah team coming down to Provo. Stay with us, 97.5 KSL Sports Zone.
The Holy War is here. The Holy War. And the Zone is getting you ready for a historic battle between the Utes and the Cougars.
I don't like Utah. In fact, I hate them. I hate everything about them. I hate their program. I hate their fans. I hate everything. So it felt really good to send those guys home. They didn't deserve it. It was our time, and it was our time to win. We deserved it. We played as hard as we could tonight. But I think the whole university and their fans and then the organization is classless. I think, they threw beer on my family and stuff last year and did a whole bunch of nasty things, and I don't respect them. And, they deserve to lose.
Holy War coverage on the Zone is presented by UCCU. Love where you bank. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome back. JJ and Alex, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. You heard the Max Hall, the classic Max Hall.
Blunder.
You know what? At this point, not a blunder for me. I will say, though, let me tell you a story behind it. And by the way, Sly is like going right along with the image that Max Hall painted in our heads because he's shotgunning another Red Bull right now.
Hey, man.
We're on to number 2.
We're about
One per hour?
Yeah, every time we do a cut, baby. Let's start the cut right now, baby. Let's go.
Get this thing going.
He's taking that cut a little too literal.
This is so weird. Hit it.
Let's go.
Hit it, Annapolis. Let's get it started officially, man.
It's time for the biggest story of the day. This is What Made the Cut with JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Sly, he's all.
I don't know about beer, but Sly just spilt Red Bull on me.
Well, listen, I've never seen Red Bull shoot 14 feet across the plaza here.
Hey,
at the
you guys
at
never
Delta
had a
Center.
Red Bull shower. You haven't lived, my man.
Oh, things just got weird at the broadcast. We wouldn't have it any other way. Yes, this portion of the show, The Cut, brought to you by your Doug Smith dealerships in American Fork, Spanish Fork, and in Linden. Nobody knows cars like Doug. Nobody knows the Cougs like our own Mitch Harper, who is the BYU insider, of course, for KSLSports.com, host of Cougar Sports Saturday, host of also Cougar Tracks you can catch on KSL News Radio as well. Mitch, thanks for being on the program, man.
You bet, guys. Happy to be on. I just got done chatting with Urban Meyer and Brady Quinn, and Urban said, because I asked him, where does this rivalry rank in the great rivalries in college football? Because he's been part of some great ones. And he said, this
Probably
one
the
has
biggest
to
one
be.
he's been a part of. Yeah.
He said this one might be the nastiest. And I thought, that is absolutely true because this game gets downright nasty. And I'm glad that, college football landscape nationally is finally starting to put a spotlight on this game because for decades, this used to just live on local TV, really until the last 15 years is it become more of a national TV game, and now it gets a spotlight, stage, and I think it's going to be a really good game tomorrow. Looking forward to it.
Well, that's something, right? Because Urban's saying that he's been a part of some really
Ohio State, Michigan, Florida,
Miami, Florida, Alabama,
Georgia,
Florida State.
Yeah,
but he's been a part of some of them, and if he says that,
but it's some of that gamesmanship. He's actually been in this one too. Like you were saying, but. And maybe the key is the word nastiest because maybe it's because you're not expecting it you expect there to be some foul stuff going on between Michigan and Ohio State fans. There's no way that the vitriol eclipses that, right? There's no way that the big game is eclipsed by what
I don't
BYU
know,
and
bro.
Utah
I've
delivers.
played in this thing. There's some nasty stuff.
I've covered this thing.
There's some stuff.
I've watched this thing, and I've covered this thing now for 20 years. The weirdest stuff you can come up with has happened in this rivalry.
That's such a great
go
point.
to the league, and I
Has an Ohio State cheerleader ever pummeled a Michigan fan?
No, it's a good point. Mitch, when he said it, did you feel like it was less of the Urban Meyer just trying to get the crowd riled up for a big noon kickoff tomorrow?
Well, I followed up and asked him, I said, well, what do you think's caused the nastiness? Because, Urban even said that he ingrained himself in the game when he arrived. And, he said that Whittingham taught him a lot and everything. But he doesn't have exact reason or thing that he points to that caused the nastiness. But really, it goes back years. I mean, it wasn't with just Urban. I think a lot of Cougar fans look at Urban was the guy that, kind of kicked it in an overdrive. I disagree. I think this has been just going on forever. I mean, you go back in even the history books when BYU was getting it off the ground, there were fights then. I mean, that's 100 years ago. So this thing has always been intense. It's always been incredible. It always lives up to the price of admission. It's the most expensive ticket in college football, and it's going to live up to it. And I think that's what's so cool about this game. And I just think that when you know that, a power conference title potentially is on the line, at least a trip maybe to Arlington, the college football playoff. I mean, these are things that these programs were dreaming of, where, it was always kind of trying to knock the powers that be and break through to the BCS or get through the alliance and try to find workarounds to get there. Now the path is pretty clear, where you just got to take care of a game like this and take care of your schedule. You're going to have everything in front of you in college football, and I think that's what's so cool about this particular matchup, is having two teams that are playing for so much, because we've never seen this before, and that's why I believe this is the greatest stakes rivalry game that we've ever seen, just because both teams have so much on the line. I think it's the highest stakes game since when Sly was playing in 2008, because BYU was a one-loss team that year. Utah was undefeated. Similar deal in this situation, but then you add a power conference stage. It magnifies the setting.
Agree with you, Mitch, 100%. This game has never been played on this stage with the stakes, with the records, with the rankings. This is an all-timer, and it has the potential to be an all-timer. As you're looking at breaking down this matchup, what kind of feeling are you getting about the matchup here? Because we all understand the stage. Are these two teams going to put on a performance that's worthy of that stage?
I think it's going to be a defensive game. I always trust that there's going to be defense in this matchup. BYU hasn't scored 30 points or more in this series since the Johnny Harline game in 2006. By comparison, Utah since 2000 has had 8 games of 30 points or more. So if you turn to high-scoring outputs, it's more times than not Utah's the one that has those games. BYU for the last 2 decades, they're kind of living in that 24 points or less threshold, with a few exceptions like the one in 2021, the last meeting in Provo. I really think the defenses will shine, though. I think both defenses are 2 of the best in the Big 12, right there with Texas Tech, and I think they show up. And then it comes down to those turnovers. And it sounds so simple and so easy to point to, but really they are magnified in this game. +5 is BYU in the last 2 meetings in this rivalry. And no coincidence, BYU has won. You go back to 2019, the last time Utah won, BYU had 2 pick sixes in a game that was 30-12. If you take those away, maybe it's a little bit different ballgame. That was the one game where I point to and say, under Kalani, BYU was probably outclassed in 2019. I think that was Whittingham's best team, honestly, in my opinion. But I think that, but one thing that's for sure is that BYU's teams have always shown up under Kalani. They've been an underdog pretty much in all of these games since Kalani took the job, and they always show up. And I think an underdog BYU that's undefeated in their home crowd, BYU is in a pretty good spot, honestly, where they should go into this game pretty loose. Because I think that in the past too, in the early years with Kalani and Independence, it was almost like every game was in this series was an indictment on BYU's existence in the college football landscape, trying to keep up with their rival and prove it on the field, and just kind of magnified everything for them, and it made everything so tense. I kind of think BYU's going to be loose in this one, where all the pressure resides on the Utah side of things, in my opinion. So I think, then you got to execute. I'm curious to see, after the scripted plays, how this thing kind of plays out. And I'm really curious to see what Aaron Roderick scripts for Bear Bachmeier in this game early on. I can't imagine that they're going to run the ball 22 times with Bear, but they seem to be very comfortable running the football with Bear. I can't imagine it's up to 20, though.
What do you think that the biggest change has been for him just over the 6 games, Mitch? He's had to learn some tough lessons. And I brought it up during our show on 1st and 12 this week, and it was, he had the interception and the fumble, of course. The fumble less so in the West Virginia game, but the interception, that was a bad throw. But it didn't hurt his team. Those interceptions on Saturday hurt his team, and those are the types of things that obviously you learn a lot from. But what do you think the biggest growing up has been for Bear going 6-0 to start off his career at BYU?
Well, he's had to learn some harsh lessons because those turnovers were significant last week, and he darn near cost the game by putting the ball on the turf. If it wasn't for Kyle Safarchuk recovering that ball, that's game over, and he's taken an L because of that fumble. So ball security is amplified here, and Aaron Roderick noted this week, he's been part of this game for 21 times now, and he even said it's turnovers. It is so key in this game. But I do think that Bear Bachmeier has shown an ability, the carry with Chase Roberts and Parker Kingston has improved, and you've seen some explosive plays. Parker Kingston told me this week he feels this is the most explosive the offense has been since he's arrived, and he's been at BYU since 2022. There's been some good quarterbacks in that stretch for that time, but they feel like this is the most explosive, and they feel like they're trending up the last 2 weeks in the passing game. BYU's had some big chunk plays, and I think they've got to deliver those. You can't expect, big plays or drives, against Utah's defense consistently. So you got to have a few kind of plays that break your way. Last week Parker Kingston broke free for a big touchdown. Chase Roberts 2 weeks ago, an 85-yarder against West Virginia. I don't know if you can expect 80-yard plays, but man, if you could break out a 40-yard, 50-yard reception, I think that could be the real difference here in a game that's so. The stats would suggest these teams are so similar. They want to run the football, the physicality, and that I think just those big plays through the air could be a real difference. And BYU has been trending up in that regard, most of which coming from yards after catch, which is something of note there. So, how does Utah's secondary maybe defend BYU's receivers to prevent that from happening? That'll be something interesting to see. But BYU has had success with yards after catch this season.
How much did they miss Jack Kelly last week in Tucson, and how big of an impact does he need to have in this game for BYU to win?
I think it was huge because, when he was close to playing, he was going through all the warm-ups, and I saw him talking with the trainers. They had Dr. Skylar Maine, the guy with the mustache that works with a lot of athletes in NFL draft, preparation. And, there was a real conversation, and it was a true game-time decision, but he ultimately goes to the sideline. I think that was the right move. He has been in a green no-contact jersey still this week, leaving the practice fields this week. So I'm really curious to see how his shoulder responds when he takes that first hit, when he's laying that contact on a Utah offensive player, and see how it responds because it's been, he has practice but no contact jersey for him, that jersey that the quarterbacks typically wear. But I think his absence was significant just because, I think back to what Kelly Papinga told me a few weeks ago, that the defense, because I asked him about the defensive ends and how they haven't had a sack, and that was going into the West Virginia game, and still to this day they don't have a sack yet. But he noted that the defense is funneled to Jack Kelly and Isaiah Glasker to make plays. And, it's very simple, but they are the playmakers. They are the guys that generate the pressure. If you're going to have someone that can stop Devin Dampier off, to get outside and go off for, last week he had 2 runs, Dampier did, of 24 and 22 yards. To avoid those sort of plays, Jack Kelly's your best bet. And then Glasker alongside him, they work so well off each other. It's critical to have Jack Kelly back in the lineup. Ace Kafusi's really good, and he's got a bright future ahead of him at BYU, the guy that replaced Jack Kelly last week. But just as far as the knowledge of the scheme, what Jay Hill expects from that player, from Jack Kelly at that linebacker spot, there's no one like him. He's irreplaceable. And so having him back in the lineup will be huge for BYU. Again, curious to see how he kind of responds in that pregame warm-up. But Jay Hill's saying that they expect him to go. I would expect that as well.
Mitch, any other things that stood out on the injury report on either side that might be of interest to some fans who are following this one?
Tommy Parasis being out for BYU catches my attention. Now, he has been out the past 2 weeks. He's the starting nickel for BYU. But it kind of creates an opportunity potentially to see the debut of Jonathan Cabella. And Cabella has been a name that maybe has been forgotten, but there was a lot of preseason expectation and hype for Cabella until he suffered a fall camp injury that's kept him sidelined. He went through pregame warmups last week against Arizona, looked pretty good, but they ultimately did not play him. He hasn't been on the media availability report. And Cabella is kind of like the next Eddie Heckard to me. And similar size, 5'10", 5'11". And Jay Hill was really high on Cabella coming out of spring football and early on in camp until the injury. We could see the debut of him. They've also got Tavion Beasley from San Diego State as well, who's filled in for Parasis the past 2 weeks. But I think that absence is just noteworthy because it creates a little opportunity for Cabella to make his debut in this spot. And then, of course, doubtful with Raider Damouni. He remains there. He took a hit to the rib cage, a helmet shot from Sialia Serra in the first quarter against Arizona. He went to the sideline, did not return. They have not seen him around practice this week. Again, don't know if he was going through practice or not. He just wasn't at the practice during the media periods, and he remains doubtful there. So that would leave BYU with Faletau Satawala, which is not bad because Satawala is a heck of a playmaker. And it also, their second unit still remains pretty good with Talon Alfrey, who hasn't played much this year, but he becomes that backup, and they trust him. So the depth has been shining because a guy like Damouni being out, you'd think, oh, no, that position takes a big dip. I think they kind of go business as usual and maybe a little more athletic on the back end with Satawala playing there full time.
Yeah, I love Faletau Satawala. JJ, I know we've been talking about that guy since he was a sophomore in high school. But I mean, I like just sitting back listening. This is the thing about this game. These are two teams that we followed every single week. There's not much new stuff that we're going to be able to talk about with these guys. Health report is always great. But for me, in these Holy War rivalry games, you can throw the book out the window, man. It's the analysis is going to be whatever it is. This game's going to be weird at the end of the day. But Mitch, I'm really kind of looking forward to, like, what have you seen from Bear this week as far as fielding questions? What type of vibe? I know you've probably paid attention to how he looks, how he's answering, how comfortable he is. What have you heard or seen from Bear this week that is getting him ready for this game tomorrow?
Well, I think that, he's, gotten to know what this rivalry is about. And, I think so much is made on the Utah side. I think for fans, they think that just Utah's just, all in on this game. Like, it's BYU too. Like, his thing is so intense on both sides. And I think, Bear, they've kind of kept him off the mic this week. He did do a national interview this week. But, by all accounts, they've kind of kept him away from the local media because – he's sometimes a young guy. I remember in fall camp where he's talking about his grandpa having, Camel cigarettes and things like that. So they're avoiding any sort of potential, off-the-cuff comment that could be bulletin board material. And maybe that's the move that
I'll take it.
It's a smart move, I guess. But I think Bear,
Utah fans are like, we're Marlboro people. He knows that.
It was interesting. It was interesting. I've tried to avoid this comparison because it's so kind of cliche But, hearing another quarterback who's been through it and experienced it as a true freshman, Brady Quinn, who just spoke with us a few moments ago, he said that he sees Tim Tebow in Bear. And you kind of think about that, and it's like, yeah, you can kind of see it at times.
Physically, yes.
Because he's a guy that can run the football a lot, and he's a pretty good passer, too. I still am curious to see, like, that big arm of Bear. I don't know if I've seen that as much. Again, the yards after catch have kind of shined with Bear, but I think the biggest thing, too, is he's really won over the locker room because BYU had a lot of mature guys in that group, and I think they feel like they have a team that was so close last year to winning the Big 12, and they didn't want this freshman to come in and mess it up. And so far, he hasn't, to the point where they feel like they might be even better than last season. And I think he's won over that locker room with how tough he plays. And, I mean, he showed a little bit of clutch factor, too, last week to come up with 2 touchdown runs with the game on the line. Again, got to clean up the putting the ball on the turf. But by all accounts, I think he's just kind of won over this team, and this team kind of follows his lead. And he is the leader. Him and L.J. Martin are the leaders of this team. And they will go as far as BYU will as they will take them. BYU will. So I think it's a huge stage for him. But I think he also I don't think he's been fazed by anything. He's just kind of a calm guy. I think the quarterback battle didn't faze him at all. All these kind of checkpoints of first game, first Power 4 opponent, first Big 12 game, he's kind of handled it well. And this is the toughest test to date, no question. But I would expect that he'll be pretty poised, and he even showed last week when facing adversity, down 10 points with 11 minutes to go. He still settled in, put together a methodical drive of 7 minutes, a little bit slower than I would have put together, but still, he put it together and did what Eric and Roderick expected him to do, and he got it done. So I would expect more of the same from Bear, and I think, like you said, Sly, I think it's going to come down to the wire, and I think maybe the biggest question is, like, what sideshow antic are we going to see from this game that emerges from it? But this thing always lives up to it, and I can't wait for the next edition of this Holy War matchup.
Yeah, something crazy and memorable is sure to happen. Another thing that always happens, Mitch, is there's always a player that becomes legendary in these games. Sometimes it's a key name, but sometimes it's somebody we don't know. Will Ferrin was that hero for BYU last year in 2021. It was Jaron Hall. I mean, you look on the Utah side, people know who Mo Lee is. I don't think he had another play that I can remember in Utah history, but everybody remembers that game and that play. Who's the guy for BYU on Saturday you look at and think, that could be a guy that makes a big play in this rivalry game? This is a guy that could be key to them getting a win as opposed to getting it going the other way.
I could see, if you want to go kind of a deep cut, maybe like a Preston Rex, they draw something up for him. Some big play to, he got a 16-yard catch last week. Again, I don't know how much they're going to turn to him actually carrying the football. Last week, 2 carries, and really, I think it was only 1 yard in those 2 carries. But in the receiving game, he showed a little bit of something. And I think it's something that, maybe Whittingham and his staff probably had to take note of in their preparation for this game. But, maybe BYU could dial up something for a guy like Preston Rex or even Cody Hagan, who's been so good on those reverse plays this year. 2 times he's taken it to the house. If he could do that again, that makes him a legend. And, he's barely played. I mean, he's played a lot, but he hasn't had the big numbers yet. That would put him in BYU lore. And you bring up Will Ferrin, it's funny because every home game this year, and even last year, the senior days and things like that, he gets the biggest cheers. And it's, not because of the streaks he's had, not because of all the makes, just that one make, because of what he did against Utah. And I think that's what's interesting to me in this game is just any sort of little mistake, like a simple drop that Chase Roberts experienced against Stanford, that gets magnified in this game because people will remember it forever. You can kind of forget those moments over time after a win against a team like Stanford, but in BYU, Utah, that gets ramped up, and then how to mentally you respond to that adversity and bounce back and just move on to the next play, because even Parker Kingston told me that those sort of things, everything is tense in this sort of game, because the emotions are so high, and how can you move forward to the next play and just kind of dial in and make sure to execute the play that's being called and do it right and not make a mistake, because everyone will remember it and everyone's on notice in this one because the spotlight's huge. I mean, just driving down here to Provo today, you see all the, all these different businesses and billboards of BYU Utah theme, haunted forest, this and that. Like, it's all, this state is all in on this game. They are ready for it. And it's so awesome to see. And it's one of those sporting events that it is the sporting event that just makes everyone pay attention in this state. It's so awesome. Can't wait for it.
Who would be, this is just a hypothetical here, and I know our producer's trying to get us out. Who would be the scariest person for a Ute fan in a BYU haunted forest, a BYU rivalry-themed haunted forest?
Oh, man.
Think about it. You know who it is?
Johnny Harleen.
What about
I don't know.
What about
Oscar
zombie?
Meyer
What about, for BYU fans, what about zombie suspenders guy? There you go. That could
or just suspenders guy.
Just suspenders guy.
He doesn't need to be a
Doesn't
zombie.
even need to be zombie.
A zombie Coca-Cola.
Oh, my goodness.
What can you say? What can you say?
Oh, my gosh. I was 8 feet from that, and I
I'll
was like,
never forget that.
I think
it was the most bizarre thing I've ever experienced in my life.
Is Bronco Mendenhall going to have to punch a guy?
I've seen Bronco in a lot of moods.
That was
dark.
He stopped.
That was dark.
He stopped in his tracks. Mitch, thanks for hanging out.
He almost
with us.
committed a crime.
Thanks for hanging out with us. That's a quick, easy, clickable idea for you to put something up on KSL Sports tonight. If you want to have a haunted forest theme article up tonight, you can do it.
I'm on it, guys.
Mitch isn't worn out already from writing everything about
We'll
this.
see you tomorrow, man. Get your blue cougar tails, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Alex, JJ, Sly, you guys are the best. Thanks.
There you go. Oh my gosh. Yeah, honestly though, that's a great thought. Who's the scariest guy in the rivalry side of the forest for BYU and for Utah? Think about it. We'll come back with more nominations next. We also have our NFL Blitz coming up next, so you don't want to miss any of that either. It's a Football Friday.
Joe Flacco.
Oh, that's a haunted forest, and he is a zombie almost.
I was texting you
basically
guys last
dead.
night. I'm like, who's this Aaron Rodgers guy?
I'm laughing my butt off as I'm getting those texts.
He's like the Undertaker rising from the grave.
This guy's unhinged.
Gets
All right, we'll
tackled
take
by
a break.
his own lineman.
We'll come back. More to go. 97.5 KSL Sports Zone.
All the latest news and notes from the league and the locals in the NFL. JJ and Alex bring you the NFL Blitz on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5 KSL Sports Zone. Happy Friday to you. Thanks for being with us on the show. Alex, Kirry, Jeremiah Jensen, and, of course, Steven Sylvester here with us this evening as well as we get you ready for Rivalry Week and Rivalry Day tomorrow.
Harvey was scared.
Oh, man, did you see did you? Yeah, right. I love how you guys are like, I love how you, the back and forth of, you got to sing our fight song with your pants down, okay? It's like
you would never catch me
the
doing
stupid
the
stuff
stakes
that
would need
comes
to be
out.
a lot higher. I need to be a lot more on the line. I need to be get paid Kalani money to be able to do that.
It's just the amount of hilarity that it turns into is always funny to me. Watching people do. Anyway, yes. So here we are. It's a Football Friday. We're getting you ready. The back and forth continues with everybody on this rivalry game as usual. The NFL Blitz. You can nominate the youth sports volunteer that you know for the Hercules Hero of the Week program. We rolled out a winner yesterday. We do it every Thursday. So just nominate somebody at KSLSports.com/contest. That's KSLSports.com/contest. And you nominate the person who does a phenomenal job in your neck of the woods as a youth sports volunteer. And then we honor those people with a gift card from Hercules First Federal Credit Union and from Beehive Meals. Hercules Hero of the Week program. All right, let's first, I want to preview before we get into the hilarity of last night's, what was it, the Icy Hot Bowl? Isn't that what
they called it a lot of different things. The Jerry
I saw the Unk Bowl to speak to the kids.
The J.G. Wentworth Bowl.
I just got traded from Cleveland, and I need cash now. Oh, my gosh. So I will highlight, though, our Sunday Night Football matchup is going to be a good, by the way, sneaky good game because the Falcons look pretty darn good right now.
They were great on Monday.
And their defense is phenomenal. And
number one in the league.
Bijan Robinson is no joke.
He's the best running back in the league right now.
Michael Penix Jr. he's not screwing it up. That's like the idea, right? He's got this thunder and lightning situation with Tyler Algier and Bijan Robinson's just phenomenal right now. And look, I don't know.
Set of receivers.
Yeah, it's going to be a nice
Drake
little.
London's terrific.
It's going to be a nice little.
George Kittle's back.
So that's what I was going to say. If George Kittle's back and you've got this offensive-minded coach on the other side at the 49ers, and you've got the Falcons who are going to be bringing the heat on the defensive side of the thing, it's going to be a nice matchup on Sunday. That's going to be your Sunday Night Football, of course, right here on KSL 5 every Sunday night. Joe Flacco wins the battle of the two guys who were too old. Did you see the offensive line? After Aaron Rodgers threw that touchdown and one of his offensive linemen tackled him from behind as like a celebration, this is a guy who had a torn Achilles 18 months ago. He got up and almost murdered the guy. Like it was – I know everybody's excited, but, yeah, if I'm a coach, I'm going, do not tackle our quarterback and drop your hip 340 pounds.
Do not tackle our elder statesman.
You can't do it. He's got
as
brittle
excited
bone
as he looks. Calm down. Broderick Jones just took it a little too far.
He's got brittle bone disease. I don't know if he's taking his osteoporosis medication that day.
I was just looking for Aaron Rodgers' life alert. Like I've fallen and I can't get up.
I know.
Good thing he takes Centrum 50.
Well, and it's a good thing he had that early lunch or that early dinner too at 2:30 p.m.
Early bird.
Hey, real talk. He looked good last night. Besides the two interceptions. Both of them, yeah. The way he was moving around in the pocket, I'm like,
The one interception was just a
You
crazy
remember how-
athletic play made by a corner. That was insane.
We talked about training camp, and everybody's talking about, oh, he's too old. He can't even move in the pocket. I'm just like, it's training camp. It's his 20th training camp. Relax. But he looked darn good last night.
And at age 41, to be able to throw a Hail Mary 69 yards in the air.
I couldn't believe that. And
that
actually,
was beautiful.
I thought
there's no way he's getting to the end zone.
It's going to be 8 yards short.
Oh, my gosh, he got it to the end zone.
Not just did he get it there, it was 3 or 4 yards deep.
There was a chance to make a play in the end zone.
I thought DK Metcalf was going to go to his NBA All-Star, come over and jump and get it, because that's what you get him for.
So Flacco goes 31 for 42.
Disgusting.
For 342 yards.
You understand why Mike Tomlin was pissed.
Yeah.
3 touchdowns and 0 interceptions.
Cleveland is truly the place where quarterbacks go to die.
I told you that.
The second they traded, he looked great last night.
It's not even quarterbacks. It's players.
Did you see,
Crazy.
too?
I heard
he was
the story of Bart Scott hiding in the in the restroom as he's doing an interview to go to the Cleveland Browns. His agent's calling him as he's in the Cleveland Browns building. He's like, "Get me out of here." It's like, I don't want to go here. Like, that's a real story. And
it's like trying to get my kids to do a speech up during the school play. It's your part.
Can't wait to get out of here.
To get out of here. Yeah, it's where your career goes to die. Everybody knows.
That's terrible.
If you're on your last leg and you want to get your last little bit of money, you go to Cleveland. You know it's your last year. You know that. That's the only reason you go to Cleveland.
At least it's not Detroit.
But you can see that, right? Joe Flacco was your starting quarterback.
Yeah.
You guys have assets over there. Are you that bad of an organization?
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. And here's the other thing. Flacco, they were talking about after the game, and he's like, there's a lot of formations. I didn't actually know what we were talking about. Did you see that?
Well, you don't need to know anything.
But look how happy he was in that post game.
Yeah.
Just 10 days into the facility there,
and
compared
get it to
how
number
long
one.
he was.
He's not stupid. Just throw the ball to Jamar Chase.
Get it to number one.
That's what he said.
Let's just play backyard football.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He said even last week against Green Bay, I was just like, I messed something up, and him and T. Higgins just went and got it, and he was just like, oh,
yeah,
I got some guys over
Well,
there.
it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, there's some juice, obviously, from you do get traded 10 days ago. I don't know if that was a true thing or not with him on that Southwest flight out of Cleveland to Cincinnati. When somebody took a picture of him.
He would have took any domestic flight. Joe Flacco is like a guy that
I know.
No. He just won the Super Bowl MVP, and guess where he went?
To his mom's house.
No, he was in the drive-thru at McDonald's.
Yeah,
I believe it.
You remember that?
Didn't he live in his parents' basement for a minute while he was just kind of waiting?
He's so chill, man.
Waiting between teams. He was just
Him and Dennis Pitt are really close, and Dennis talked about how great of a guy he was.
Yeah.
I mean, just down to earth, dude.
Here's what's funny is today my timeline gets hit with they're like, here's Joe Flacco's highlights when he was at Delaware. I'm like, you guys, one game and we're going back to freak out mode. But you know what? If you're Cincinnati fans,
they needed it. They just saved their season.
It made the division.
They got 100 yards rushing.
Massive win last night.
100-plus yards rushing. What did they have? 150-something yards rushing.
Yeah, Chase Brown got going.
They've been averaging 52 yards rushing a game before that.
Good for them.
Yeah.
And against that Steelers defense, which isn't easy, but that defense is.
They look like
they've got questions,
they
right?
had to wake up.
Yeah, that's
First
not
of all,
a Steelers defense.
Yes, because here's the issue is, and I told you that Minkah Fitzpatrick trade is more on display last night, right? Because
absolutely.
All of those gaffes on the defensive side of the ball, that was man coverage. That's mano a mano. That's what do you need other players for that? Right? That's Jalen Ramsey, that's Darius Slay, that's Joey Porter Jr., all number one cornerbacks.
Right. Yep. And Porter Jr. had, he was on Jamar Chase basically all night, and it was tough.
All of them were.
Ramsey got it.
They were trying to figure it out.
I thought he was going for 200. I'm just like, you guys can't figure out a basic under route right there.
But even
you can't see if they're in stack formation. You know he's going to come under.
A lot of
you
confusion.
Guys double him, and you leave the freaking seam route wide open.
That's what I was going to say. Sometimes when they throw the ball down the field and you're anticipating.
That's Darius Slay covering that guy. What are you doing?
When the camera would move, you're expecting to see a Steelers defender right there, and instead you had just a guy who came back on this route and is in this soft zone in the middle that nobody was covering.
But that's what pissed me off is like it wasn't schemed like crazy. They weren't running like amazing double routes or anything like that. It was a basic slant, basic under route, a seam route, bracket coverage, and you could not figure it out. That was what was bonkers, and they got to figure that out because that was ISO man coverage against Jalen Ramsey, Joey Porter Jr., and Darius Slay, all top-notch Pro Bowl guys.
All right, the tracks train going by says we got to go to break, so we'll take that break right now. We'll come back. We're right outside Delta Center for game number 2, the home opener, of course, was a win for the Mammoth. Tonight it's the San Jose Sharks coming to town. We'll see how they do here in game number 2 at home. Game number 5 of the season. They've got 4 points after
I love
the 2
that
wins.
Mammoth logo.
It's pretty sweet.
Do you like the guy? Tusky? I showed it to my kids and they were like, "Oh yeah, that looks pretty good." I was like,
my wife tried to give me crap. I was like, "What is Tusk up?" I'm just like, "Do you not know what a mammoth is?"
How dare you?
How dare you?
Lots
That's
of,
a great slogan.
Lots of talk this week on Tusky. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We've got more around the corner. Stay here, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
The Holy War is here. The Holy War. And the Zone is getting you ready for a historic battle between the Utes and the Cougars.
Nelson just flung up there almost for grabs, incomplete. Time is run out.
After review, there's 1 second on the game clock.
So this game is not over. This will be a 51-yard attempt to try to tie this and send it to overtime. Blocked. Live ball. Fans flooding the field. And Falslev is finally tackled, but a flag comes out.
We have a live ball foul. While the play was still alive, the crowd rushed the field. That's a live ball, 15-yard penalty. 1 on time down at the 19.
Holy smokes. So now Riley Stevenson will attempt this. A 36-yard attempt to try to send it to overtime. And it hit the upright. And the game does end. And for a third time, the Utah fans storm the field. It is officially over.
Holy War coverage on the Zone is presented by UCCU. Love where you bank. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. JJ and Alex, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone. Thanks for being with us on the show, everybody. JJ, Alex, Sly, all with you on a Football Friday, getting you ready. We are outside Delta Center, so it's Football Friday. Oh, boy. Did you just...
You got to wait till the cut.
It's not yet.
You went early. Well, you got to go now.
Now you got to go.
You can't hold off on the bowl.
Sly's on Red Bull number 3 that he's shotgunning during the program. Just really keeping that image of the classy Utah fans across the board here. All right, go ahead. We'll let you have your moment there. He likes it. It's like he likes the sound of it too, because it does sound okay. All right, it's a family program. Shotgunning a Red Bull. It's a laugh from David, our tech over here. So I
do a dirty soda, JJ.
Oh yeah. Listen, before we get out to the break,
a little cream and some mango puree.
Who's ready to go, baby? Let's go.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Slice rivalry ready.
Who got wings?
I shotgunned a Cougar Tail Shake down in Provo. Wow. Is the malt shop still open?
And it was thick.
I'm just kidding.
The malt shop.
Remember the
Rest in peace.
I know. I love the malt shop.
That was a
ye old malt shop. It was never clean, but you know what
it was a landmark.
It was never clean, but you know what it was?
It was never good.
It was available for a date night. Oh, my goodness. Okay. I've got something I'm going to propose to you guys.
Okay.
Before we get out to the break. We just don't have time for it right now, so I'm going to make sure we do it next hour. And it's kind of along the lines of a would you rather kind of top 10 sort of thing mixed into one. I'm going to make you pick out of the let's just go back to the 90s. So 90s, 2000s, 2010s, and now on both sides, we're going to pick out not best players, none of that stuff. The guy on the Utah side and the guy on the BYU side that you want to take. We're going to draft one from each of those decades for a street fight. All right?
Street fight.
Street fight.
Oh, man.
Sly's going to have a lot of intel on this, too, because there's going to be some guys that you don't look at and you go, oh, he's a great player. No. This guy will shiv you with a shank. This guy will shank you with the shiv. You know? I want to know who those guys are.
I'll take all 4 guys from Utah from the 2000s.
Now, listen. I know.
There's some guys on those rosters.
You got to get one a decade.
I know. Okay, I got
you got to get one a decade.
I got
so we'll do that when we come back. We've got more around the corner, of course, as we get you ready through look, we've got tons still to get to, so I'm not going to try to short anybody on it. But, by the way, mentioning tomorrow, 10 to noon is College Football Saturday. All right? It's a rivalry edition of College Football Saturday. Myself, Christian Esparza, and our producer, Alex Napolis, we're all on the air walking you through from 10 to noon all of your College Football Saturday previews of the rivalry week and the rivalry game and everything else across college football. Then, noon to 4, right here on your dial, you're going to get the best of rivalry week as well. All the interviews from all week long. If you missed any of them, we're going to be going through, and it's a punch list of BYU and Utah players who've played in this thing, and you'll hear it all right here as well. That is from noon to 4. 4 to 6, of course, we're going to be down there at the UCCU branch on Freedom Boulevard in Provo for our pregame bash. The rivalry pregame bash is going to have food, games, prizes, cash, tickets to the rivalry game that we're also going to be giving away. So you don't want to miss any of it. Beehive Meals will be on site, so we're going to be feeding you as well. So we'll see you down there at the Freedom Boulevard branch in Provo at UCCU. Love where you bank. We'll take a break. We'll come back. More to go around the corner. We'll also be able to hear from Carson Ryan, BYU tight end, who was formerly a Utah tight end, and many other things to dive into still in this next hour right here. Stay here, 97.5 KSL Sports.
All college football, all day. It's a Football Friday right here on the Zone. Whether it's the Utes, Cougars, or Aggies, we've got you covered. This is a Football Friday edition of JJ and Alex on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, everybody, welcome on in. We're getting you ready for the Utah Mammoth, of course, tonight, right here on your radio waves.
I need another Red Bull.
You already had 3, dude. You already had 3, dog.
It's not enough.
You just can't just start taking them off for yourself, dude. Come on, man.
I'm so hyped for tomorrow, man.
Are you? Do you get excited for it? Now you're gonna be on the sideline doing the radio stuff, but like you get too into it?
Oh yeah, all the time.
Okay,
that's why they mute my mic. They mute my mic a lot.
Let's go down the slide. Never mind. Hit the dump button.
We hear him on the exchange. He's not paying attention. Don't throw to him.
Well, I think about all the different things that are the different angles of the rivalry every year, and we hit them all. We talk about them all, and we get into them all. But the game itself hasn't always lived up to it. Like the hype that runs up to it. Well, the last few really have. Like,
what do you mean?
Oh,
there's been forgettable games.
Very forgettable.
Of course.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying is I don't want there to be all this build-up and then flop a Reno tomorrow. You know what I mean?
I just don't see that,
really?
Right? Because the games that you've seen
these teams are too good.
They're too similar.
Yeah.
You just heard Coach Whittingham talk about the similarities in the rushing yards and the tip. Everything. The defenses are exactly the same.
And he breaks that stuff down like crazy.
Yeah. And that's why it was like so hard for me like this week in looking at these guys. I'm just like, where is the edge? The only edge that I see in this game is Utah having a bye week 2 weeks ago. Right? And like –
maybe resting up a little bit more.
Well, you rest up, and then not only do you rest up, you actually have a quality opponent that you got a quality win at, and you came out healthy.
Yeah. I think part of it, I think that if Utah would have had a close game against Arizona State last week,
it'd be different.
It would have been a little bit different.
I say that's the only edge.
It would have been a little bit different.
BYU's been through the grinder these last 4 weeks, and, even they have another game after this before they got that's my man right there. Go Utes. Even before they have their next bye week, they have another game next week. So it's just like, that's the edge that I see.
I don't think, but see, I don't. And listen, we were making our picks this week earlier, and so I put it out there, and I'll just say it too. I don't have BYU winning this football game.
Good.
And we'll talk about and it has nothing to do with anything. I'm trying to be truthful about it. I don't think you'll ever be truthful about the game. You have to pick it a certain way.
Oh, I keep it real.
No, you do not.
I will never pick against my team. How about that?
Well, Utah 72, BYU nothing.
I know.
Can we not start the Utes?
Add another art attack this week.
Yeah. Easy on that Polish sausage there, Sly.
Sausage.
You're going to choke on that thing and have another heart attack.
Cougar tails, sausage. So I was looking at some of the things that we can break down, and one of the things that I wanted to jump into was I've got some sound for you first. Mitch Harper, by the way, made reference to what's his name? Urban Meyer, the former head coach of the University of Utah, of course, during that stretch of BCS busting in that the 2004 team, and then of course the year before, and then he leaves the year before. You guys, your senior year, Sly, are able to put together an absolutely historic season for the Utes and beating Alabama down at the Sugar Bowl. But Urban Meyer's been an interesting part of the history of the Utah football program. For as short a time he was there, he made a massive difference. And it was that interesting time frame between Coach Mack to Urban to now Coach Witt, who's obviously his own legend in his own right, and he'll have a statue one of these days outside of that stadium, I think. Here's Urban Meyer today, making his media availability down in Provo, or as he likes to call it, the TDS, right? Maybe he had to be nice and be a now that when he's hosted by the city, he has to call them BYU.
Yeah.
But here's what he had to say, because Mitch made reference to it, but now we have the actual clip, the full 5 minutes of Urban Meyer talking to the media this afternoon down in Provo for Fox and Big Noon Kickoff.
Where does this BYU-Utah rivalry rank among the all-time great rivalries in the sport?
You know, I've been telling our guys now for a week since we got this job that we got this game that I've coached in USC, Notre Dame, Florida, Georgia, Florida State, Ohio State, obviously the Wolverines, Toledo, Bowling Green. This might be the nastiest of them all. I mean, when I got here in 2003, I was shocked. I came out of the locker room right over here. It was a blizzard that day. And I was like, my gosh. And I tell people, Kyle Whittingham, because he played here in Provo, that his eyes changed color, man. This game, this is an emotion-filled game, and this is a nasty one, man.
What do you think creates the nastiness?
I don't know. I don't know if it's a Mormon, and, they consider Salt Lake to be less, I don't know. They call it the Holy War. I think the fact maybe, too, that for years under Lavelle Edwards, I'd studied this game. It was a one-sided rivalry for many years, and Ron McBride did a heck of a job getting it back to win some games. And then we went 2-0, and then obviously Coach Witt did a great job. So I don't know. It's I'm telling you, the greatest people that I've ever lived. But for 4 hours a year, it's ugly.
When you coached rivalry games, how did you handle that? Did you treat it like it was another game, or
No.
I
I jumped all into the rivalry, and we called them the team down south. You weren't allowed to have any blue in the facility. I went around to every office and threw out all the blue pens, all the blue markers. You were not allowed to wear blue at all. You could never say the 3 letters BYU was team down south. But, like the Ohio State Wolverine, you got to try to temper it as it gets closer because it's so big. This one, man, it's just different. And I've been trying to explain, I wish we were here to watch the game because we're just going to be here 8 to 10. But it's a intent. And I know Kyle Whittingham and Sataki are close, but this is very personal for these two.
Did Whittingham carry a lot of the approach that you took to this rivalry when you were here? Like, has he carried that over?
He taught me the rivalry. I didn't, he explained it to me, and I was like, really? Really? And then when that week came, I was educated by Coach Witt. And Morgan Scally and Dave Revel and my players really, this is a deep one, man.
What are you expecting from this BYU crowd? You experienced it last year, but what are you expecting this time?
Yeah, to me, it's all Dan Pierre. He was hurt. He's a little bit injured, banged up against Texas Tech. They didn't look very good offensively. He looked unbelievable last week against Arizona State. The Bear, I call him the Bear Bachmeyer for BYU, young freshman. I just think it's going to be a lot for him. The Utah defense, but he's a heck of a player, tough. I just think the Utah defense will stiffen up, and I'm going to, obviously, people know I'm going to pick the Utes, but I think it's going to be a heck of a game and in the most beautiful setting in college football.
Kind of on the subject of Witt, what do you think of the old DC and sort of what he's done up there?
The what?
What do you think of Witt and kind of what he's done up there?
Yeah.
Just kind of building on sort of what you guys were doing and then obviously keep building on that.
Yeah, I'm very close with the coach, and he's as good a football coach as I've ever been around. When we worked together, I tell people those are my favorite 2 years I've ever had. I love the state of Utah. Obviously, we woke up a sleeping giant, the Utes, and he's continued that success. And even, we're now in the Pac-12, now the Big 12. So, phenomenal coach, phenomenal friend. And, I know legacy piece, he wants this one so bad.
What are your thoughts on Kalani, what he's built at BYU?
Yeah. Kalani's become a friend, too. He came to visit me a few times when I was in Florida. Love the guy. The guy's a great football coach. I didn't realize they're 17-2 the last 19 games. This is one of the top programs in college football. So I'm glad. Here's what it is. I'm really glad this is Big Noon. And they're national television, that the entire country gets to feel this rivalry.
You said that you kind of told some of your co-hosts. What have you specifically told them, to Leinert and all these guys about this game?
I said it's absolute street fight, and they've been looking at me not like rolling their eyes, but come on. Now they're kind of feeling it. because you can feel it where you're here. And I got a feeling tomorrow morning there's going to be some red here as well, and there'll be blue everywhere. So it's going to be kind of cool.
Big Noon prides itself on being a party. What do you think these BYU fans are going to be like?
A lot of Pepsi. A lot of Pepsi, man. A lot of Pepsi and candy. No coffee. Now the Utes, the Reds will be down here. The Red team they'll have a cup of coffee in their hand and maybe some other things. I just, once again, in all seriousness, the love I have for this state, respect for BYU, respect for Utah's and Mets.
Coach, do you think the rivalry's changed at all since these two programs got together in the Big 12?
I was so crushed when they took it from the last game of the season. This game should be played on Thanksgiving, and it should be played for the Beehive. It should be, but once again, there's a lot of things moving nowadays.
Why do you believe there's so much parity in this Big 12 conference?
Boy, I don't know, man. It's something, isn't it? We saw Texas Tech in person. Right now, they're the cream of the crop until BYU proves us different. Utah, the winner of this one will be a strong bid for a college football playoff spot. But I think Texas Tech right now is separate themselves a little bit.
Didn't know he had stopped talking. I was waiting for an answer from him again. Oh, my gosh, he's really thinking about this next answer. That was Urban Meyer, former Utah head coach, and, of course, he's part of the Big Noon kickoff crew. I think it's cool double dipping into Utah 2 weeks out of the first 6 weeks of the season. That's a big deal up here in Salt Lake when Texas Tech came, and then this one, of course, you can't miss. Honestly, I know that everybody's like, I want this last game of the season. Big Noon kickoff would not have come to Provo if it was the last game of the season. It would have been – this is the benefit of being able to have this game being such high caliber and having it be October 18th or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That is that actually works out for the promotional sense of being like, hey, talk about big games over the weekend. Utah and BYU is one of the big ones. It's not just two ranked teams. It's not the SEC rivalries that are going on this weekend are not premier rivalries in the SEC. There's a lot of ranked teams in there. We all look at them and go, yeah, fake, ranked in some cases. But I think that this one is going to get as much attention as as any of these other games this weekend, and that's why being on this big of a stage matters. Being in a power conference matters. Being in a power conference together, and these two teams, say what you will, their futures are always going to be aligned with one another in some fashion. So it's going to have to happen. You've got to figure out how to make sure that game, I don't care if it's played the last game of the season. I don't want it the first. October 18th seems fine. November 9th seems fine. I don't care. I just think that the last game of the season or not, there's going to be most years that the game's not going to come down to the last game of the year. It's not going to matter the last game of the season. But there is something to that when it's played the last game of the year, too, because everybody knows how big of a deal it is.
Yeah, I think JJ can speak to this. The relevancy matters.
Yeah.
Right? You talk about how many locals we have in the NFL from both of these universities that's very notable names. Right now, the best linebacker in the game, injured, but Fred Warner, right? Yeah. Taysom Hill, notable name. You got guys.
Nakua, Devin Lloyd.
Right, and when those guys say they're universities across the screen, people are paying attention to. Now, set the locals in the NFL aside, Utah, being a relative, as Urban Meyer said, giant, in the last decade or so, having some remarkable games. I think that Ohio State-Utah game was one of the most watched bowl games in a very long time. Yeah. And that was a great football game. Huge points. Yeah, and then, the last couple of years, from Zach Wilson days, him going number 2 overall to the last couple seasons. As he said, the last 17 games, they've only lost 2, and beating Coach Prime, that was bigger prime time. Everybody was watching that game last year. 8 million
people watched the Alamo Bowl.
Right, and so, it just relevancy matters. And I think relevancy of both of these two schools, 6-0, 5-1, top tier, all the narratives going in it, true freshman quarterback, new OC quarterback for Utah, both defenses are great, all the coaches from both universities, the similarity. There's just so much that is going on. The marketing narrative is high, so why not cover it?
Yeah, these teams look like they're looking in the mirror at each other.
Yeah.
Both have dual threat quarterbacks.
Right.
The crossover on the coaching staffs, players that have transferred between the schools. It's just crazy how much the similarities between the two teams. It's fitting that they're in this position, and the entire country is going to be able to get to see what this rivalry is all about.
And it's a story that people have been close to because of the relevancy, right? People have known, like, okay, I know Coach Whittingham. Everyone talks about
I hope that the coaches, or I hope that people in the rivalry, the coaches, the players, everybody start to go a little bit more down the line of what A-Rod started doing this week was, we can say we're going to treat him like any other opponent, but we know it's not.
Yeah.
We know it's not.
Just be real.
Hey, by the way, JJ, look at those guns that Sly's got out right now.
Oh yeah,
they are goosebumped. He is freezing. He's trying to pretend.
Come
like
on
he's
now.
Not cold.
We're in the shadows now here at Delta Center. The
You
sun's
know it got
starting
cold.
to go over the Oak Ridge.
I played on
here.
the river in Pittsburgh.
You know what?
This is nothing.
Okay,
all it's going
fine.
to take is one more Red Bull to make those goosebumps go away.
I'm telling you, that it gives you wings, and it also it boils the blood, baby. It boils the blood.
JJ, we're gonna get you out early on your
I
prediction
gotta
because we gotta make sure you get to your senior night for football down at Riverton High School tonight. So I'm gonna make you make your prediction now. We'll bring it up again next segment, but I'm gonna make sure that we got that out there. The Utes are a 3.5-point favorite down in Provo tomorrow. That shocked a lot of people. I said, don't fall for that. That's a Vegas thing. They're trying to get you to bite.
Yeah.
They want you to make that move. Come on.
It's going to go down to 2.5 by tomorrow.
Okay. So
it's basically a pick 'em.
Your thoughts on how this one goes down in Provo tomorrow night?
It's really hard because Utah comes in with all the momentum, right? Utah's looked like the better team the last 2 games they've played. BYU's looked a little vulnerable, but BYU is the undefeated team. They are at home. There's a lot to like about BYU and the way that they're playing and they've got momentum in the rivalry. They've won the last 2 games. Kalani and his staff have figured some things out there. So what does it come down to here? It's going to come down to turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
Which team's going to take better care of the football?
Mm-hmm.
And after what I've seen in the last couple weeks, it's Utah. Bear Bachmeier turned the ball over in Arizona, and it cost him. It almost cost him the game. You cannot get away with that against Utah. And I have a feeling it's going to cost them on Saturday. It's going to be close, but I think it's going to come down to that. Utah's going to win the turnover battle, and they're going to win this game by 3. It's going to be a grinder. I'm going to go 23-20.
Wow. Okay. Sly, you
but
and
I don't feel comfortable about that at all because it's a rivalry game. You throw it out, and that BYU team is really good.
Could easily go the other way, yeah.
And that you can get lost in the momentum of what you pay too much attention to what's been going on the last couple of weeks. It doesn't matter. This game is a beast of its own.
Okay, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll make some of those other predictions happen. I've also got some sound. Carson Ryan, the BYU tight end, who, of course, was Utah's tight end last year. We'll listen to his weekly interview with the press this week and see what he had to say about it. Stay right here with us, 97.5 KSL Sports Zone.
The Holy War is here. The Holy War. And the Zone is getting you ready for a historic battle between the Utes and the Cougars.
Kick return for BYU. And a big one to midfield. He beats the kicker down the sideline. Marion, touchdown, 96 yards. Vincent in motion. Keithy, left side, walks it in. Touchdown. High stepped it in. He's caught one for a touchdown. Now he's run one in for the lead for BYU. Snap, hold, kick, on the way. Kick is good.
Holy War coverage on the Zone is presented by UCCU. Love where you bank. This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Welcome back, everybody. It is JJ and Alex. It is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone, and it is Rivalry Week. We're outside Delta Center for the Utah Mammoth taking on the San Jose Sharks tonight. Game number 2 at home here at Delta Center this year. Stevenson Sylvester is a card-carrying member of the Utah Mammoth fan club.
Yes, I am.
Got himself the customized jerseys and everything last year. He's in, man.
Yeah, I just bought my daughter some infant ones.
Oh, you guys are.
She got 2 of them.
You guys are doing it all, man.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, somebody's gonna have the kid dial up. It's you and Whitney, man. I mean, like, you can't let her go out in public looking like
I'm just like, stop
slouch.
spending money. She's got all the cheetah print outfits. She went ham. I'm like, do you know she'll be out of this in a month?
Ham. Oh my goodness. Well, yeah. Look, when you add daughter number 2, it'll be fun.
Oh, I know you know about that.
Well, I will say that we have benefited a lot from the boxes that you store of other clothing for other kids.
Hand-me-downs is a real thing.
Come on. All right. Here's the deal. Sly, we got a couple things we got to jump into here. First of all, Jake and Ben on Tuesday are going to be out there in Ogden at Belliston Jewelry. They'll do their show all day there, 10 to noon. It's 1155 36th Street there in Ogden. Bellison Jewelry, locally made just for you, cherished for generations. Our last week picks, we had, let me see here. All of us, BYU over Arizona. I think we all got kind of lucky. We all did have it as a close-ish game. JJ went 21-16. I went 27-21. Sly, you went 30-28. You were right freaking there, man. We were all, I guess, just right around kind of where that pick was. We all had Utah beating Arizona State. We did not have it as big of a blowout as it ended up being, but I was 33-21. JJ was 31-21, and you were 34-13, so we're all kind of around there.
That wasn't me.
Oh, no. What were you?
I don't know why you didn't write me. I could have swore I did 38-13.
I swear I said 42-11. And so
slightly off.
43-11?
I thought I said 38-13.
Yeah. We were all dead wrong on Utah State. Utah State did not get the dub at Hawaii. In fact, they gave up a ton of points, and they did not look good out there on the islands. We'll see what Bronco and his guys can do to get it back next week. All right, let's go through a couple predictions here, JJ. USC going to Notre Dame. This is a Sophie's choice for me because I can't wait for either one of these teams. Somebody's going to lose this weekend of two teams I don't like very much.
No, man. USC Notre Dame, legendary matchup, rivalry game. Everybody remembers the Reggie Bush, Matt Leinart push, the old Brady Quinn matchups. I know that's just legendary, those type of games. I grew up watching Notre Dame film, especially after you watched the movie Rudy, man. So very excited for that matchup just for nostalgia reasons. I actually think that USC will go in there and get an upset. You know, I agree with you. I'm with you. I don't like either of those teams. So
I want to see. I think Notre Dame getting this loss will finally just take them totally out of the conversation.
And that would be awesome for football.
Love that. And then and then USC, when they take their second loss at some point, they'll be out. Then they'll be out as well. So I'm all for USC beating Notre Dame as well. Tennessee at Alabama.
Wow.
This has upset written all over it because it's not. This is the Kalen DeBoer Alabama that has been up and down. Now they've been way up since
he's turned that program around.
He turned that program around since that one lady threatened to fire him with their lottery winnings. So I think that that's a. But it still is. It's not a comfortable game.
I'll take the first $70 million.
Tell you what I'd do first. Head down there and fire old Byrne. Oh, what's his name? Old Kellen DeBoer and then old Byrne, the athletic director. So
a lot of passion behind
I think Alabama's still going to beat Tennessee, though.
I'm with you on that.
So the home team gets that one. Ole Miss going to Georgia. I can't see Georgia losing at home again in the SEC. I think Ole Miss is probably.
I got Ole Miss in that one.
Oh, you do? Yeah. I think Ole Miss has skated by on a little bit of some lucky moments, and they barely got out of a home game win over Wazoo last week, but whatever. And then I'm going to go, let me see, LSU at Vanderbilt. Your thoughts?
I got LSU. Vanderbilt is a great offense, but I got LSU down in Death Valley. Yeah. It's at Vandy.
Yeah, that doesn't.
No, I still got LSU.
I still got LSU. Yeah, you don't look at the legendary home crowd at Vanderbilt being a big one.
Scary.
I'm not that. I'm going to go with Vanderbilt though. I don't think Brian Kelly's guys are that dialed up. I think Diego Pavia is going to be feeling himself, and I'm going to say Vandy gets the win on that.
Is that a blackout game? It's probably going to be a blackout game for them too. So, I like that, but I still take Nussmeier. I think he'll come out and make something happen.
Texas Tech going to Arizona State. I don't know what the status is of
Sam Leavitt.
Have we heard what his?
I haven't heard anything.
I mean, that makes a huge difference, obviously. Yeah. You know what? He's doubtful as of last night. Okay. Well, if he's doubtful as of last night, then
game time decision.
We'll see. If he's playing, if he's doubtful in the first couple of these injury reports, I don't think they have it. Plus, on top of that, even if Sam Leavitt were 100%, now he's upgraded to probable. Even if that's the case, Texas Tech has the edge in this.
I got Texas Tech too. I'm actually really looking forward. Hopefully, BYU beats Texas Tech later on in the season, and Utah, Texas Tech, and BYU all have one losses to each other, and I want to see how that plans out.
San Jose State tonight at Utah State, going to be kicking off here in just a little while up at Maverick Stadium. San Jose State coach Ken Niumatalolo and of course Bronco Mendenhall, they know each other pretty well.
Right.
Thoughts on Utah State? Can they get this one back as San Jose State comes into Maverick Stadium?
Unfortunately, when you have losses like Hawaii, you can blame it on such a
the
far
travel,
all kinds of different things. So, but you are playing at home, so hopefully they be able to get that. I don't know much about San Jose State, so I'm gonna just go USU.
I'm gonna say Utah State. I think they crush as well. All right, the big one, of course. for this week.
The big one. The big one.
Utah and BYU. You had JJ who picked Utah 23 and BYU 20. I have to stick with my pick from earlier in the week, which was when I had this chat with Mitch Harper. I said I thought Utah would edge out BYU as well. And I'm not going to change it. I'm going to stick with it. And I think the argument that I'm having with that is that where are all of the different edges in these games? Who has the edge? The defenses are both really dang good. The offenses have been producing about the same, but I think from a quarterback standpoint, I think Utah just has a slight edge. I think Devin Dampier is just a little bit more mature, a little bit more dialed in, and I think a little bit more talented right now than Bear Bachmeier. And that's the only edge that I'm going to give Utah, and I think they're going to edge out a win as well. I'm going to go with a 26-23 game in favor of the Utes.
Man, I like everything that you and JJ said about this matchup. It's going to be crazy. For me, analysts, I've did so much digging over the years in this game of how this is going to go, the season, the personnel, yada yada yada. Everything goes out the window in this game.
These picks, we've made so many of these dang picks.
Right, it's like the unit that you think is going to do the best actually doesn't. Right, we think these defenses are going to do great, and I just think that it's going to be one of those matchups where it's just going to be like, what the heck is going on tonight? And so I do think it's going to be low scoring. I think it's going to be some funky. I was going to pick like a safety where it's going to be like
10 to 9.
Yeah, 19-16. No, I think that it's going to be a great game, but my final score is Utah 21-17.
Okay. There's the predictions right there. I want to dip in real quick with I hope we have enough time. I think we do. Let's get Carson Ryan, the tight end for BYU, and his thoughts this week. Obviously, he made the change over from being up at Utah the last couple of years to now being down in Provo. Here's what Carson Ryan had to say this week about getting ready for this special game.
None yet. I mean, we've been talking a couple times throughout the season, just guys that I was friends with out there from high school and from when I was there. So we keep in touch a little bit. Haven't talked much this week. Probably won't. Probably just stay away from each other, prepare, and then we'll see each other after the game. So.
You played in this rivalry game, and then obviously you played in the UCLA-USC rivalry game. How would you say the BYU-Utah rivalry stacks up to the UCLA-USC rivalry matchup?
I mean, this rivalry is it's a game that it's something like I've never been a part of before. It's a hostile rivalry, like with both sides, they hate each other, and it's crazy because a lot of us, we're family, friends, old teammates, like we all know each other, and so that's what makes it more fun for me too, is because like you're going up against your brother in some cases, or friends, guys you've been friends with a long time, and guys from high school that I went with. So it makes it more fun, guys you get to see all the time, you get to talk trash to, and it gives you that bragging rights for the rest of the year. So it's an exciting game, and I can't wait for it.
How do you take the emotion out of a game like this? Because at the end of the day, I mean, this isn't just another game, right? It's a rivalry and everything. But at the end of the day, you kind of have to, in some ways, treat it like, go out there and play football on Saturday, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's all it is. All it comes down to is, like, you try to make it something more than it is. And, you can't take that away that it is a rivalry, like you said. But you just got to go on, just treat it like another football game. Just play your game and just trust your process and, whatever will work out for the best. So,
Any other questions?
Any else?
Your season just so far to date, kind of the first 6 weeks of the year, or 6 games, I guess, 7 weeks of the year, just how would you kind of evaluate yourself? Because it seems like you've really come out firing on maybe not all cylinders, but a lot of cylinders.
I thought it's been a really good season so far. I'm really happy with how I've done. I think I can always do better. There's a lot of room for improvement, in all aspects of my game, and that's what I'm always striving for. But I'm really happy with myself being able to affect the game in a lot of different ways in the run game, blocking, pass blocking, catching the ball too. So it's one of the reasons I came here, and it's something that I'm really happy that I've developed and can hope to continue to develop for the rest of the season.
How have you seen Kalani and this coaching staff and some of your teammates here, just the way the rivalry's talked about this season, this week, as opposed to last year when you were at Utah?
I mean, for both sides, it's a big deal. It's a big game. So, you want to go out, you want to win that game, and you got to give it your all. So we try to treat it like every other game, not to, make it something more than it is, and just make it another game for us. So just keep our same routine, our same process, and not try to be different from who we are. Just keep trusting what got us 6-0 so far, and hopefully get to the 7-0.
How much are you guys embracing? You guys are undefeated, but yet you guys are viewed as the underdog in this one half. How much are you embracing that in this game?
I mean, we always love being underdog. That's how it usually is here at BYU, and it's how it's kind of been for a lot of our games this year. Well, some of our games. So, we embrace that, and we'll just take it with a grain of salt, honestly. Just go, we know what kind of team we are, so we'll be out ready to play.
All right, there you go. Carson Ryan. Trying to pretend like take some emotion out of this one. Slide, no such
I don't know how you do that.
No such thing, right?
There's no such thing, especially here. He's a Utah County guy. He's been around this sport, this game, and what it's all about. As you said, growing up, you have high school friends. You got friends that you played at Utah with, and now being at BYU, there's so much. You can't take the emotions out. You got to control the emotions with all of this. It's nuts, man.
All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. We'll wrap some things up here, get you ready for Utah Mammoth hockey. Puck drops at 7. That means pregame starts at 6 o'clock. Stay right here, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
All college football all day. It's a Football Friday right here on the Zone. Whether it's the Utes, Cougars, or Aggies, we've got you covered. This is a Football Friday edition of JJ and Alex on 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.
All right, I want to thank everybody here helping us out on site at the Delta Center, getting you ready for Mammoth hockey. And, of course, many thanks to Sly Sylvester. We'll be back tomorrow. I'm going to go say hi to Sly down at the stadium. So, Sly, thanks for hanging out, man. We appreciate it, as usual. All right, we'll be back again tomorrow. No, we're going to be all down at Provo all day tomorrow. UCCU from 4 to 6, all day long programming right here, 97.5 the KSL Sports Zone.